Yo, UFC Unfiltered Adults tag back at you. Another video. You already know. We got UFC 314 this week in Miami. Lopes versus Volk taking over that featherweight title. We'll see who's got it in the bag. Before I get started, I'm gonna go over last week's prediction record and my wins losses. UFC 105 at the Apex. I placed. I didn't place too many bets, but I placed a solid amount in between there. I'm up 4.2. Made a solid little profit off of one parlay. I went 5-6. Unfortunately, my predictions were not that solid. Our record is now at 75-51. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right. Now we'll get started. We've got Nora Cornell versus Haley Cowan. I don't know much about Haley. I'm gonna be looking at my notes down here. She's coming off a unanimous decision loss to Jamie Lynn Horth. She is 3-2 in her last 5. And then as far as Nora, I do know that she's got hands. She has striking power, knockout power. She is 4-1 in her last 5. Her last her last fight coming as a loss, split decision to Jacqueline Calfcanti. All right. You guys already know I don't really like female fights. I don't like predicting them because they don't ever go in my favor. But I will be taking Nora by decision. But I won't be surprised if she wins by KO. On to this next fight, Trishan Gore versus Marco Tulio. I don't really know anyone that's taking Gore here, I'm not gonna lie. I've got Tulio here. He's 5-0 in his last 5. KO coming off of Ihor Potieria. And then Gore's 3-2. His last win coming off of a sub win to Antonio Tricoli. I don't know how to say it. But I think I'm going to take Marco Tulio here by KO. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be a high level fight. I think Trejan will. I don't know if he'll stand and bang, but I could definitely see him going for some takedowns. But Marco's going to be one tough guy to take down, I'll tell you that much. Interesting fight here. We got Sumadarji versus Mitch Rapasso. Not sure why Mitch is the underdog, but it is what it is. Sumadarji 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a unanimous decision loss to Charles Johnson. And then Mitch 4-1, coming off a loss to Andre Lima in his debut, lost by split decision. Andre Lima, he's a high level fighter. But yeah, I'm taking Mitch here. Mitch by decision. I honestly don't know if I'll be betting on this fight because it's a tough one to call, but I've got Mitch here. We got an interesting fight right here. Cedricus Dumas versus Mikhail Olegs. I don't know. Mikhail, he's 1-4 in his last 5. Coming off a loss to Shot a Bullet by unanimous decision. And then Cedric, 3-2 in the last 5, coming off of a unanimous decision win to Denise Tululin. As far as Mikhail being 1-4 in his last 5, I'm not gonna hold him. Not gonna hold that against him because I know his last 3 fights were against dogs. Got Shara, Kevin Holland, and I forgot the other 2, but dude's got striking power. I could either see him winning by decision or by a KO. Possible liver failure for Cedric, you know? He can hit him with a good shot to the ribs. It could be over. But as far as what I got on here, Mikhail by decision and then / KO. So I might be taking Mikhail as method victory, second chance by KO or decision. All right, early prelims are done with Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Erosa 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a sub win to Christian Rodriguez back in 2024. I haven't watched many of his fights. That Christian Rodriguez fight's the only one I watched. Christian usually manhandles everyone he fights, so except for the last dude he fought, that was terrible. Elkins, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a unanimous decision win to Daniel Pineda. It's going to be a tough fight to call as well. I mean, Darren Elkins, he's been in there a while. I'm not so sure about Arosa. But Elkins, he's going to be shooting for them takedowns, and I could see him getting a win by decision. Just because I think he has the ability to take Arosa down and hold him down. Although Arosa has submission skills, I believe he's got 14 submission wins. Maybe 12, I could be wrong. But Elkins could surprise us here with this underdog win, so this is my big underdog for the card. Then on to the next fight, Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. This is going to be a good one, fellas. It's going to be a good one. Jim's not going down without a fight. All right? You heard it here first. Jim Miller, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off of a KO win to Damon Jackson. And then you got Chase Hooper coming off of a win. He is 4-1 in his last 5. Submission win on Clay Guda. Now, a lot of people think Chase Hooper's going to win by a sub. Jim Miller's only been sub 3 times, and he's won by sub 21 times. This fight is 60-40. I'm going to go Chase on the 60, Jim on the 40. I wouldn't quite say it's 50-50 because Jim's getting a little old. Dude's 41 years old. He's fighting someone that could be his son, dang near. I think it's going to be a brawl. I don't think Chase wins by sub. I'm going to be going with Chase by decision. And I believe that line is at plus 1,000. I might be wrong. I believe it is. But when I upload my clip onto the end of this video, when all the props drop tomorrow, I'm going to record a video with all my props and ideas and whatnot, my parlays. Because I'm sick of putting them in the comments. I always forget, or my views drop for some reason, so I'm gonna include my decision or my parlays and whatnot, straight bets, at the end of the video. But yeah, I'm going Chase Hooper decision. I'm pretty sure it's at plus 1,000. Nah, you know what? It might be Patty. That might be the Patty fight. I'm getting mixed up, but I'm huge on Chase Hooper decision and Patty decision this fight card. So just stay tuned. Chase Hooper, I could be wrong. He might be at plus 215. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think Chase Hooper plus 215 by decision. All right, then we got Jan versus Verna. Don't know how to say either last name, so I'm going to avoid butchering that. Jan is 3-2 in the last 5. Verna is 4-1 in the last 5. Coming off of a submission win on Amanda Lemos. And then Jan coming off a unanimous decision on Tabitha Ricci. Both these fighters, there's some exciting fighters for the women's strawweight division, I'll say that. I'm not huge on women fights at all. Kind of glad there's only 2 women fights on this card because I'm trying to see some violence, but I see a lot of these fights going the distance anyway. Tough one to call. Verna, I see her getting takedowns and holding Jan down. Wei Li dominated Jan in her second to last fight. And I'm not impressed with Jan anymore. I know she's got grappling, but I don't know. I see Verna just holding her down, riding it out for the decision win. Most times to stay away from women fights. Anytime I bet to lose, it's usually because I bet on women. So I think I'm going to stay away from this fight. Who knows? We'll see. So yeah, I'm going Verna decision. And then on to one of our most exciting fights and interesting ones of the night. We got Dan 50K Ige versus Sean Woodson. You know, at first, I wasn't sure what I wanted, but it's going to be a tough one to call. So we've got Dan Ige, he's 2-3 in his last 5, taking a unanimous decision loss to Lerone Murphy. And then Sean Woodson, 4-0-1, one coming a draw in his last 5. Last win was a KO to Fernando Padilla. Man, this is one of those fights, just like the Bryce Mitchell fight, I don't want to call because it's tough. Danny Ige, he's got power. Most of his fights go the distance. Sean Woodson, he's got good cardio. He loves to strike. You know, I could really see Sean just clinching Danny Ige and just laying knees and shots to the body, hold him up against the fence. Although Sean Woodson doesn't look like a strong guy, he's got some power behind him. So I'm going to be taking Sean Woodson by decision here. Sorry, 50K. And then on to our main card. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. These fighters are not as active anymore. Krylov hasn't fought in about 2 years, I believe. Dominic Reyes, he is 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a KO win to Anthony Smith. If you don't know who Anthony Smith is, you're more of a casual than I am, and you should know that Anthony Smith is mid. He's not good anymore. He used to be, but no. And then Krylov, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off of a sub to Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann's not that good, in my opinion. Dominic Reyes lost to KO by Ryan Spann, so that should tell you what I'm doing here. I'm be going with the guy who's fought in 2 years versus the guy who's kind of fallen off. I've got Nikita by KO. Second round KO. Watch it. Heard it here first, you fellas. We got Bryce Mitchell versus Jean Silva. 2 of my favorite fighters. Again, this is going to be a tough one to call. I'm going to regret this. I may regret this. All right. Bryce, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a KO win to Kron Gracie. Jean Silva, 5-0 in his last 5, coming off a KO win to Melsik Bog something. All right, so I'm going to give it to you here. Jean Silva, great striker. He's got power, insane KO power. I could see him getting a first-round KO. If that doesn't happen, I see Bryce taking him to the ground and holding him down, possibly getting a sub. I don't really see the sub happening, but I see Bryce Mitchell getting the decision win here. I don't know why I'm doing, I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. As much as I want to go for John, but I'd love to go for Jean Silva, but I think about it dude, Bryce Mitchell got KO'd by Josh Emmett. I don't know, but then he came back in the next fight and got his first ever KO win. So, I don't know. Bryce has got good ground game. And Jean Silva got taken down 3 times by Charles Jourdain, but he ended up winning by KO. Again, Charles Jourdain doesn't have any weight to him. He couldn't hold Jean down, but I think Bryce Mitchell gets a body lock on him and holds him down 2 out of the 3 rounds. So, yeah, I'm taking Bryce Mitchell by decision. Again, I could see Jean Silva getting a KO. First round KO likely. But if not, Bryce Mitchell's riding out the decision win. Tough one to call. If I were you, I'd probably stay back unless you're going to straight bet Bryce Mitchell. This is another odd fight. We got Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull's coming out of Bellator. I never really watched that, so I don't know much about him. I know that he's got KO power. He also gets clipped. So this fight's tough one to call, but Yair is 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a submission loss to Brian Ortega. Pitbull is 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a KO win. Not sure to who it was, but it happened. So we'll see what happens here. But man, such a tough one. Yair, he's not as active as he used to be. Patricio, he's lacking height. I'm not gonna lie. He's probably gonna be looking up, trying to throw them punches, trying to hit Rodriguez's chin. Man, I don't want to do it to Yair, so I'm going Rodriguez by decision here. I can see it being a dogfight. I could also see Pitbull getting a KO, but dude's a little short. He needs to step it up, On our co-main. Originally, I thought this was a 3-round fight. Didn't know that. Call me a casual. So we got Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Pimblett 5-0 in his last 5. Last win was a sub on Bobby Green. Michael Chandler 1-4 in his last 5, coming off of a unanimous decision loss to Charles Oliveira. Michael Chandler, he's obviously got KO power, strong hands. He throws them, but I really don't see him getting much work done with Paddy. I mean, Paddy does keep his chin up high, so there's always a chance, but Paddy's a dog, man. I mean, he hasn't fought the same people Chandler has. Chandler's fought some good competition, but I don't know. My thought here is a lot of people probably think Paddy's going to get a sub win, but if Michael Chandler can hang around for 5 rounds with Charles Oliveira and not get subbed, then it's probably not going to be able to happen with Patty either. So I'm going Patty Pimblett by decision here. I could see Michael Chandler getting a KO in the early rounds if it's available, you know. The other thing is Michael Chandler has really good wrestling. So if Patty goes for a takedown, it's not going to work out in his favor. So this is the real test for Patty here. Then on to our next fight, the main event of the evening. We've got Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Volk coming off of 2 KO losses, one to Ilia Topuria and one to Islam. Volk is 2-3 in his last 5, and then Lopes is 5-0 in his last 5, coming off a unanimous decision win over Brian Ortega. Lopes he's a young beast, a young buck on his way up. Dude's fought 6 times in the last 2 years. He's fought 3 fights in 2024 and then 3 fights in 2023. So dude's hungry. He wants it. Volk, I really don't see him winning just because he's coming off 2 KO losses. I know he used to be the champ everyone loves, but it's just hard to imagine him pulling out a win here with a chin that you're just questionable about. Diego Lopes, he's got power, he's got speed, he knows what he's doing. He's got cardio, which is another thing. It's going to be a 5-round fight. I see him clipping Volk here. So I'm going to go Diego Lopes by KO here. Volkanovski could pull off an upset. I'm saying it's an upset, but he's the favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how I mean, I understand Volk has more experience. He's fought longer. But Lopes is just a different breed. I feel bad for anyone that bets on Volk. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if Volk wins, but I really, really, really don't see it happening. So yeah, I'm going Diego Lopes here by KO. Could see a decision win, but we'll see what happens here. All right, that is all I have for you guys. Psych. Tomorrow when all the props and whatever drop, I'll be right back. I'll add that part to this video, so if I'm wearing a different hoodie or something, you know why. I'll catch you guys in less than 24 hours. Yo! Back at you guys with a couple bets. We're going to have a good weekend here for UFC 314. I'm pretty excited, I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to make it quick, get this video posted. Hopefully we get some views. Placed most of my bets on DraftKings this week. But I do have a couple bets on Fanatics Sportsbook. So with my favorite bet I'm going to start with, place a unit on this. Sean Woodson versus Dan Ige. The fight will go the distance at -260. Jean Silva, money line, -225. Round 3 to start in the Patty versus Chandler fight at -115. And then Diego Lopes, money line at +110. Odds come out to +856. I'm pretty excited for that bet. I'm pretty confident it's going to hit, but we'll see where it goes. And then back to DraftKings, I've got Chase Hooper to win by decision, Sean Woodson to win by decision, and then the Jan versus Virna fight to go to end in decision as well. Put a half unit on that. Put a half unit straight betting Patty Pimblett to win by decision at +1000. What else we got? And then I put a quarter of a unit on a couple bets. Bryce Mitchell to win by submission or decision +240. Volk to win by KO or decision -115. Dan Ige fight to end in to go the distance at -250. Patty Pimblett to win by decision or sub at +150. And then another quarter unit bet. Patricio Pitbull moneyline, Michael Chandler moneyline, Volk moneyline, and Bryce Mitchell moneyline. We'll see how that goes. By the way, originally I had Bryce Mitchell taking it, but after sleeping on it, I'm switching up my bet. I'm going with Jean Silva to win. I do think Bryce Mitchell decision is still live, so I don't know, do what you will with that, but I don't know. Jean Silva he's undefeated. Well, he has 2 losses, but none come in the UFC. So he's on a hot streak. Same with Diego Lopes. I know Volk is a tough guy. He used to be the champ. He's got a ton of striking power. He could really get it done. This fight could go either way. A lot of these fights could go either way, but I'm riding with Jean Silva, Diego Lopes, and Paddy Pimblett. And then when it comes to the Yair versus Patricio fight, Yair has a lot, like, pretty good size gap on Pitbull. So yeah, that's what I got. If I have any other bets, I've still got some money I'm going to put down, but that's just what I've put down so far, and I'm pretty confident with. So come Saturday, I'll probably put some more money down, and then if I have any other bets, I'll leave them in the comments. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. UFC Unfiltered Adults Take 314. It's gonna be a show. Can't believe it's only Thursday, dude. Still got a whole freaking day and a half. 5 o'clock Saturday needs to hurry. I'm impatient, man. But yeah, give this video a like, subscribe, drop some comments. Let me know your predictions in the comments. That's all I got. I'd like you guys to share the video, tell some friends. I hope this is a good card for you, as the last few have been for me. Let's win some cheddar, Bob. UFC Unfiltered Adult Steak, out of here.